I was chuffed because I don't know how we connected, but she asked me to do a remix of her song Who I Am, which I love doing.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, we kind of ended up working. Well, Dressage introduced me to some people she worked with, and now we kind of work in the same circles a little bit. So we've done a few records, the Deck the Halls, the Free Britney, and we both recently were out of three producers. We were on the Gem project.
Yep.
We had two tracks each, didn't we, babes?
Yeah. Yeah, the 40th anniversary of Gem and the Holograms, like soundtrack with the original singer, which was crazy because she originally recorded those songs when she was like 20 and now she's like 62 or something and she killed it. So that was very cool.
Yeah, it was a mad project, wasn't it? I haven't done anything like that before. We had to basically reproduce the original songs from the 70s, weren't they, babes, or the 80s?
80s, yeah.
The 80s. And we had to kind of like modernize them, but don't make not make them too different for the original fans. And like Dressage just said, we had to record the same. I can't believe her vocal when the record comes out. She was
Yeah.
20 and then 60, and she still sounded good.
She's amazing.
Yeah, so we just worked on that project together, but Dressage needs no introduction to be honest, but her work is, well, I'll just give you a little heads up. She hasn't quite, for the Ableton nerds here, moved over to 12 because she has been scoring a movie, recording a whole record for an artist called Laces, producing and recording an EP for an artist called Desi. She's also moving and about to go and tour in London. So there's been a lot going on. So we're going to be, so this is just for our Ableton nerds. We'll be in working Ableton 11 today. But yeah, you've also done some amazing work, stuff on Netflix, stuff for Apple, just Hulu, all the sort of lots of syncs, isn't it, babes? You've had loads of success there. And but mainly the artist stuff, everything Dressage makes, I just love. So yeah. So should we get into it, babes? Do you want to
Yeah.
so
Well,
yes.
you're very sweet. Thank you for those kind words. And hi, everybody. I love RKC so much. And we've actually met in person finally. We met in 23,
Yeah,
and that was awesome
in
when I came
London.
to London. But yeah, yeah. So my artist project is Dressage. I produce as Dressage, but my name is Keely. You can call me either. Um, and yeah, I thought that, yeah, I am excited. I'm waiting to upgrade to 12 because I just have been in the middle of too many projects to make a crazy change like that. But now that I get to change my studio and reset everything, I'm like, I'm ready to go. So, um, today will be in 11 though. So thanks for your patience with that. Uh, yeah, I thought that because I release music as an artist and I also produce other artists, and a lot of times sort of the thing that
Recording in
sets
progress.
oh yeah,
Sorry.
no good. The thing that kind of sets me apart or just makes me a little more unique in a production lane is that I am a singer, and that's really what I am first. You know, I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer. And I taught well, I studied production at music school, but I also like really started teaching myself GarageBand when I was young because I just wanted to have the tools to tell stories and use my vocals as more of like a texture and sort of I don't know, like a like paint on a canvas instead of just being a singer and not understanding the technicality of it. So that's kind of how I got into production. And so a lot of times when I'm working with artists, especially, they can kind of see, they're like, oh my God, like you understand how to produce a vocalist. You understand how to, create a track, but also really be focusing on the lyric and the vocal performance and production and the arrangement. And um, so just because I guess that's kind of like my natural where my ear goes first, that's been a really fun thing to really dive into and kind of own. Um, I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I just want to be able to see. I think I've like pinned you, Rachel. Okay.
there we go.
I
You
want to
can
see
see
everyone. Okay,
everyone.
this is good. Yes.
Yeah.
You're very cute too. Yeah, are there any like singers in this vibe? Yeah, I figured. Amazing. And so
Woohoo.
you all know like I'm sure if you produce your own music and you vocal produce yourself, like it is kind of, I use Ableton, I always say, as like an instrument. It's an extension of my voice. And I actually learned in Pro Tools. And so I, at some point, just jumped ship because I was like, this is too clunky. I understand signal flow. I learned on a console, but what I really want to do is be writing songs and recording them and producing them at the same time. And that's really how I got into effects and arrangement and vocal choices being sort of like this synergy with as the song is being written or the idea is being created. It's all like the technology of it is sort of weaving together and it influences and inspires itself. So I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but that's what gets me excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, should I just kind of go into, oh, I guess
Yeah.
let me get
We'll do a
my
sound check. So
stuff.
yeah, so Dressage tonight, guys, is really cool. She's gonna break down like one of her own records and how she like approaches vocal producing her own stuff. And then she's also gonna do, which I think is super cool, dive into another EP that she's been working on and how she vocal produces another singer. So, because I know we've got quite a few artists and singers here, we've also got obviously the rest of us producers who will be producing vocals. So it's a bit of both for us to look at. And while you get those links, babes, I'll quickly say, yeah, so we're going to be using Listen To tonight, guys. I know loads of you familiar with this. It is honestly the best way that we can hear the productions. So for anyone who hasn't used this before, Dressage is going to drop a link in the chat and we all need to click on it. And that is how we're going to be able to listen to the Ableton session.
Yep, here's the link, putting that
Thanks,
there.
babes.
And you have control of the volume yourself. So it's just going to open like a new browser window and you can hear, you'll be able to hear me talk through Zoom still, hopefully. And then the audio will sound nice and you can kind of control that volume through this link. So
Yeah,
I
so should
guess
we
what I'm
give it a
going to
whirl?
do, yeah, let me just getting a
I'll
little.
click on that as well. And then,
Okay, so let's just test and see if sound is coming out here. Great. Nothing sounding like everything's sounding good, right? Not jittery or anything. Amazing.
that's all sounding good. And so if
Cool.
anyone doesn't have it, just like pop a little in the chat and we'll try to not what's that word?
Diagnose.
Diagnose you in the chat. So so yeah, but
We'll be doctors.
the same thing that we do in listening parties. So if anyone's struggling to hear the audio, then just write in the chat and we'll try and help you get the audio working. But as not to hold up Dressage, we'll keep moving. And yeah, and like she said, we can turn it up and down so you guys can get the balance for yourself then if you want more music or you want more of Keely
Yeah.
chatting.
And it's cool. I see someone's asking me what that is, but basically it's this audio movers listen to, it's like a broadcaster I can put on my master channel and then it just starts the stream at a really nice high quality level. So it's very cool if you don't know about it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I figured that why don't oh yeah, here's another preview really quick. Always a mother or a daughter, good grace gives way. I'm gonna play this all, so you can tell me also if that's not working, but okay, looks like it's good. Cool. So this is one of my songs. It's from my project Dresage, and it's called Sanctify. It was on an EP I put out in 2023. And I chose this because it's a pretty there's a lot like well I'm going to play you the master. So what in my session I didn't mix it and I didn't master it because I am a sane person and I don't do that to myself. But I am going to play you what is like the released master of this song and then I'll dive into the session and kind of show you where everything is. And it's funny, like I was listening within the session last night and I was like, oh my God, like there's so many vocal layers and a lot of it I actually couldn't get to like sort of sit right. And then I just was like, you know what? That's why I'm hiring a mixer and I'm going to have that be achieved in the mix because I know all the parts are there, but like they're just as like things that needs to be carved out. And that's a whole other mixing conversation. But anyways, I'm gonna play the length of the song. Let me know if anything is looking, oh yeah, is Ableton looking okay? I'm kind of like, this is as big as I can kind of go because I'm trying to see everybody on the screen. I'm gonna play this song. and then we'll circle back and I'll kind of unveil everything. But here is the master released version of it.
Irons on the altar, new chains, same cage, always a mother or a daughter. Good grace gives way to red rage. They crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry for love, show of force, kill the thing they adore. Every night they were burning down, gold in the ashes they cover the ground, never dared to raise a high, sainted in the afterlife, sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down, sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy round my crown. Holier than holy, painting my grief in gold leaf. Hold power like an offering. When I reach for it, put it to my lips. You take it from me. Crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry for love, show of force, kill the thing they adore. Every night they were burning down, gold in the ashes they cover the ground, never dared to raise a high, sainted in the afterlife, sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down, sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy round my crown, sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down, sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy round my crown.
Woo!
That's that song.
Amazing.
Just a simple little production, understated. Yeah, that was a really fun one. I wrote this and co-produced it with my friend Matt Parod. And yeah, you'll hear as we go through the vocals, you'll hear some of him. So it's real fun. So funny that somebody called me out for the session name. This is like my neuroses about like losing backups and like having things not work, because also I'll transfer between different computer systems that I was on at the time. So that's really funny. Yeah, I have a million different copies of sessions because I'm so afraid of losing things because it's happened. Cool. So yeah, I think like what I'll do is kind of let's just like unfold the vocal production, and I'll just kind of go through and show you how I arrange my sessions and sort of also, what this looks like from a vocal perspective.
Amazing.
Still, that's not going to sound, let's see. Okay.
Good grace gives
You guys can hear that,
way
right?
to red rage. They
Yep.
crave the
Cool.
rose, curse the thorns, cry for.
So it's obviously going to be a little quieter because it's not mastered. Do I want to bring my... Okay, I think it's good. So kind of toward the end of a production like this, when it's like just a lot going on, a lot of times I will keep the instrumental and the vocals all separate. And also I'm wondering, hopefully some of these things are all... I think this was like my stem printing session, so it looks like a lot of stuff is committed. Cool. Okay, so as you can see, I comp the fuck out of my vocals, and I'm not even afraid to say it because I do so many different takes, and it's all about like, you know, finding the right delivery of each line. And for me, the lyric is the most important thing. So with the lead, here's what it sounds like.
Irons on the altar, new chains, same cage, always a mother or a daughter. Good grace gives way to red rage. They
So what's going on there? Just some like tune. I have some Pro Q EQ going on. Let's see, I'm using some CLA vocals because a lot of times I just will start when I'm like writing or early on in a production, I'll start with that and just kind of like get a vibe. So it looks like I'm just doing some compression and a bit of EQ from this guy. And then I'm using a micro shift, and I wonder...
on the altar, new chains, same cage,
Yeah,
always a mother or a
I do like to
daughter.
use a bit of micro shift a lot of times on my lead vocal, and sometimes I'll automate the mix of it, but I really do like to have just a little bit of spread with the chorus and sort of the like detune and delay of the lead. It feels like it's a little bit, when I'm not doing a ton of like stacking, or like if the lead vocal isn't completely layered the entire time, I like to give it a little bit of dimension, and so I'll do that with micro shift a lot. Probably do some decapitator for a little bit of saturation.
On the altar, new chains,
Let's see.
cage, always a mother or a daughter.
And there, okay, so there's not even on, but let's see. A lot of times also with vocal production, what I like to do is really think of different sections of the song as like different different palettes, or like a new dimension added, right? So for this, it looks like I added on the decapitator for some saturation on the lead for the chorus, and I take it off for the verses. So this is the verse sound,
Crave the rose,
and this is the chorus sound.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes they cover.
It's subtle, but you can hear how there's just like a little bit of breaking up in the high end, which I like. Vocal Rider also I think I use because this is such a dynamic song, and I don't even use this very much, but it's kind of an interesting waves plugin that just you can create sort of in the range that you want the volume of your vocal to be, and it will kind of automatically ride it.
Every night they were burning it down.
I thought it did a pretty good job. Yeah, it does save a lot of work for sure. Okay. Just kind of going down the chain of this lead. Honestly, I have not looked at this since July 2023. So it's just as much of a mystery to me. I use the utility a lot to like create, you can see that I'm bumping up by 2 dB for the chorus, for the post I'm bringing it down. A lot of times I'll do that for sort of broader stroke sections to really like ride the lead and let it sit where I want. Okay, and then I have a effects rack where I, for the sake of printing returns in a better way for a mixer who's going to get this, I will put all of my effects on these different chains and then be able to, like, here's just the dry.
Ashes they cover the ground.
And then I have full wet returns of the verb, the delay, slap. Ooh. Let's check out that. I like that a lot. That's the slap that's on the lead. And I wonder It looks like it's probably on there. You guys can see the plugin things that I'm pulling up, right? You can see Valhalla
Yeah.
delay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can see like the way I do this, and I'm sure this is not new information to a lot of you, but the way I like to do this is to create full wet returns and like sends basically within an audio effects rack. And you can do that by creating also like one of these types of return tracks. But I find that I can have a little bit more, well, first of all, like you just know you never run out of these. Like you can create as many chains as you want. And it's a nice way to be really precise. And so you can see here, like what I'm doing, it's a full wet send. And so I'm just mixing in the level of the volume of this delay. And so it looks like I boosted it here. Okay, yeah. So because it's like this moment in verse 2, and I'll go into it because there's definitely a moment there that's like very vocal production heavy. Okay, so we're kind of like lush here, and then it's going to suck down and really focus on this delay.
Holier than holy, painting my grief in gold leaf.
And if you look at this audio effects rack and look at all of the movement of these volumes, you can see how much I'm doing with like really trying to look at the lyric, look at the dynamic and like the peaks and valleys of the song and being like, okay, how can I use these as like paintbrushing different parts of these lyric and this story? So just watch, like, it's kind of fun to watch how much is happening right here. And you can hear what's happening without even really knowing exactly it, you know? So these are all here. Quiet. Or like dry.
Holy, painting my grief in gold leaf. Hold power like an offering. When I reach for it, put it to my lips. You take it from me. Crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry.
Like, that's pretty fun. That really like tickles my brain because it makes it's mixing, but it's also, you know, as I was writing that verse, I probably was really thinking about these types of moves. And it's very inspiring to me, just like you would be creating a new synth sound. It's like it's sound design, you know? And so this is just the lead vocal, but like that's really something I try to do is find these different places in the song where I can highlight a lyric, really play with the space, really play with the contrast of like dry, wet, filter, you know, bright, dark, all these types of things. Do I have everyone still? Should I keep going?
I think it's a jaw drop moment, babes.
Okay, great.
Very cool. And everyone, just so you know, guys, like save your questions because you will be able to ask Keely some questions between projects. So
okay, yeah.
Feel free to save those. And yeah, amazing, babes. Wow.
So I think that I would say, as I've kind of I bet like the most I do this for is the lead vocals. Like I definitely do automate and do a lot of this type of thing for backgrounds, but a lot of times those can kind of live more as like groups. It's like a group, like a little school of fish. Maybe I'm just saying that because I see underwater sunlight. I just see this like, I'm like, everything's a school of fish to me in my brain, even though I think those are dolphins. But it's a pod of dolphins, and my little background vocals, I kind of group together and we'll treat them all the same way, but like have some dynamic and changes. But really the lead vocal, especially when you see an audio effects rack like this from me, like, you know, I'm really playing with things and really trying to make it an interesting production. Okay, cool. So that's verse 2, and I'll show you all the kind of actual, like, these are printed effects because they were just crazy. So, but let's see. So this is my verb throw.
Kill, sing, they adore.
And then out. I love to do that too. Here's the next chorus. And I think that like really this song is building up to that like halftime peak, and everything that I'm doing in the vocal is serving that payoff that we're getting towards.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes, they cover the ground.
Okay, so we got more swimmy, more delay. Here's where the build starts.
Strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down. Sanctify me, strike strike and light me. Braid the ivy around my crown. Sanctify me.
You can also hear that my performance is getting a lot more intense, right? So like I'm really getting towards more of a belt, but it's lower in my range. So I'm trying to keep like the breath support and control to be really getting towards this like angst and payoff and big moment in the song.
Sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down.
Yeah.
Sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy around my crown. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of verb throws there, probably more here.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the last chorus.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes, they cover the ground.
So that's kind of what's going on in the lead. There's a lot, but really what I'm doing is playing with not only the dynamic of the performance, but also the dynamic of the contrast of wet, dry, saturated, clean, bright, dark. Okay, so just because it's a very fun payoff here as well, I'm just going to solo this lead and then the ad lib lead over this last chorus because I did like a higher harmony as an ad lib. And a lot of times I will, okay, yeah, so like I did a half and half of this lyric, I guess, panned hard left, panned hard right. And so you'll feel it kind of moving around. A lot of times if I'm adding an ad lib, I'm trying to create a movement within the stereo field. And I usually will do that in the last chorus, but here is what that all sounds like with the lead and then the ad lib layer.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes, they cover the ground.
And that's fun because I got to just kind of let loose there on this.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the
Yeah, I see in the chat, Mike is saying, I guess a lot of this painting advice also applies to lead vocal melodic parts. Yes, it's all about, it's very much about like what you do, but it's about the parts that you provide things to do too. Do you know what I mean? So you're not going to paint with things that aren't really that melodically or like layered, like additive to a song, I guess. So it's both. You're totally right. It's like it's giving myself a lot of things to paint with and colors by way of what parts I choose to record and harmonies and little ear candy things, but then also by the way I treat them. Okay, cool. So then I have this whole vocal production group, which I think ends up just being a lot of kind of printed effects and swells and stuff, but and chops. A lot of things I do will be like vocal chops as well. So let's just solo this and see what's going on here. Verb swell. Let's see in relation to that lead where that is. So these are things that I would have printed from my vocal. Like I know you can find a lot of verb swells, you know, on Splice and all these different places, but these are definitely my voice printed full wet and then reversed.
Sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy,
hear that?
braid the ivy around my crown. Holier than holy.
Okay, so this is that moment, verse 2, that I really wanted to like create a demonic vibe. It was like Billie Eilish, I think, was kind of a reference. So what I did to kind of pull you into that total, like from swimmy verb, pull you into this moment was to create a reversed reverb tail and then cut it all to dry. And then I did this crazy demonic thing. Okay, so that's cool. That's left, right. Like what did I do to it? Oops. I have little altar boy doing some fomenting down and some drive. And then also Rum by Cleve Grand is a cool, weird, small space vibe. So this is like a reverb plugin. So this is Bright Stairs. And then I use some of this Warm Corral. This must be one of the Ableton stock chorus things. And I just automated left, right. And then under that, I did this like also insane. I think it's just pitch down with a little altar boy. Yep, just down formant and pitch. Oh, together. And then with the lead.
Holier than holy, painting my grief in gold.
And then again.
Hold power like an offering when I
So I think that I wanted to highlight those lyrics, holier than holy and power like an offering. And holier than holy, I wanted to add this like sinister vibe to, but power like an offering, I just added a quieter version, but of this kind of, it's not even computerized sounding, but it just does sound strange, right? But it is like a layer of my lead. Hello. So that was a fun way to just create a little moment there. And then it releases and lets it kind of get back into the swimmy.
Hold power like an offering when I reach for it, put it to my lips, you take it from me, crave the
And then we're into like the kind of next pre-chorus section. Here's another verb swell. Another one. So just creating like a really tension and release within these sections. And then I think I had a lot of fun with this vocal chop. Let's see what this is. I tend to create vocal chops and I hear them as like little melodies, and a lot of times they can be instruments, but also I'll create little melodies out of these like sampled vocals and use that as something in a new section. Oh yeah. What's going on here? So I literally must have just heard like in my head and was starting to think about what kind of instrument I would want that on. And I think I probably just was like, it should be a weird operatic sample, obviously. So this is where that's happening. This is like starting to get towards that build, right? So I'm trying to add tension and like new little elements that are going to like create intrigue, I guess. And I printed this, but there's a big like delay, throw, and cut there to create these little bursts of energy. And then I turn this into kind of a melodic hook as it continues.
Sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy around my crown.
Playing with panning.
Sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down. Sanctify me, strike and light
Turn it up.
me, braid the ivy around my crown. Yeah.
And this is when we get into the halftime. So then it just becomes a layered part in the chaos and you kind of can't hear it as much. But I do think that that little melody helps us really get to that like payoff halftime build thing. Okay, so that's kind of, let's see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's kind of like when I'm in my session, I can see a lot of times I'll do lead. I'll do a group of vocal production things that are like non-lyrical, but definitely vocals doing something that are affected or melodic. And then I get kind of into my background vocal arrangement, which there's a lot, right? So I have a yeah group and I have a lead stack and I have all my backgrounds, and there are 5 different groups of stacks, and then there's na-na-nas and da-da-das, and I'll kind of just play. I think a lot of these probably are a little less like, they're probably a little bit more of just like a setting, but it's more about the part as far as like effects. So here's some, these are printed. Yeah. This is my friend Matt who did some singing. But we also formatted him, and I think I probably was singing with him on that mic. So it was just kind of trying to create this like lower part. What's this? Oh, there's me, layers of me doing it. What's this lead stack thing? Oh, this is that pre. I think that I separated the lead here because it's in such a different part of my like range. So a little yah moment. And really what I'll do when I'm trying to create weight in a section like that is I'll do a lead and I'll do a left, right, hard panned, basically double, triple of that. All three different performances. Here's a yeah pitch print. What's this? Oh, this is formented. And there I'm changing the pitch and the forment. A lot of times I will use like little Ultra Boy or just the audio engine within Ableton to create intentionally sounding pitched vocals that are creating a melody, right? So it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. I didn't sing it that way, but it sounds cool to be pitched. Do I still have everyone with me? I know it's a lot of information.
The harmonies, babe, are absolutely stunning as well. Like the
Thanks.
the parts that you've created, because there's quite a lot of harmonies, isn't there, in this?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely like the imagery and vibe of this song is very like Joan of Arc. And so it's definitely got a bit of that like choral, like gothic church vibe to it vocally. So I wanted to create a big choir with it. And then just before I get to all those backgrounds, like here's my lead stack to just kind of support my lead vocal.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes they
So
covered the
pretty
ground.
similar type of like pretty similar tone and performance. It's just to support it in the choruses. And actually you can see that I didn't do that for chorus 1. I did it halfway through.
Never dared to
So I let the
write.
lead be on its own for this first line of the chorus.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes they never dared to raise it high.
And like I don't know if I'm even that intentional about it at the moment, but like never dared to raise her high. It almost felt like it could be a group of people saying it. Like in, this song is about women being vilified but then sanctified after death, basically. And so it's like the single vocal saying every night they were burning her down, golden the ivy, it covers the ground, I think is the lyric. And then you can hear like layers of me, which in my head I'm like, this is like a little group of people being like, never dared to raise her high, which I just think is cool to, even if nobody else catches that, I'm like, it's a story in my head. Okay, so on to my background vocals. You can see there are so very many of them. And I kind of will do like, some of these are overlaps, so I'll record them on different parts, but really it's like, this is a choir I'm building and I'm always going to create a left and right stack of the part. And then just for my own sanity, I usually try to separate them by which part they are, and then do one at a time in each group. And basically on each track, I just have tune, but I have another one of our fun effects racks. Just like some compression happening, Neoverb, which is a fun, really, let's ignore you. I do have, okay, we're not gonna do that right now. But it's this cool, like really, oh no, I hope it doesn't create weird sounds now. We'll see. All right,
Classic.
we're gonna test that. We'll see. Because this is a new computer that I have since moved over to. Anyways, enough babbling about that. There's effects and there's groups and there's parts, and I'm gonna play them for you now.
Striking like me, braid the ivy round my crown. Hold power like an
Okay, I think maybe what I'll do is keep my lead in and I'll just turn it down. You can go away. Okay. And so you can hear in relation what all these parts are doing, but these are kind of the ones that I'm looking at here. Background vocal 1 through 5.
hold power like an offering. When I reach for it, put it to my lips, you take it from me. Crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry for love, show force, kill the thing they adore. Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes, they cover the ground. Never dared to raise her high. Sainted in the afterlife. Sanctify me, strike and light me. Flames behind me, burn me down. Sanctify me, strike and light me. Braid the ivy around my crown. Sanctify me, strike and light me. Flames behind me, burn me down. Sanctify me, strike and light me. Braid the ivy around my crown. Yeah.
Okay, I'll save those. So you can hear that I'm using the vocal. Yeah, very madrigal-y. You can hear that I'm using the vocal layers and harmonies to build tension, right? And I'm also doing the same kind of like dynamic effects moves as I'm doing in the lead to create that like payoff to this, to the halftime part. What's this last chorus?
Every night they were burning it down.
Wait, here it is, the ad lib. Sorry, here we go.
Every night they were burning it down. Gold in the ashes, they cover the ground.
And a lot of times, like, this isn't even a lyric. I just probably heard this melody in my head and wanted to do something. Very pleasing to me. And then as if that wasn't enough, I was like, no, this needs so many stacks of nas and da-da-da-das. So let's check out what this is. I think this is because, okay, let me check this before I say. Okay. So I think that Matt and I were making some guitar tracks that were like, that had some of these melodies in them. And so we were like, okay, let's double that on vocal. Okay, what's this? That's it. Okay. A lot of times I will hear something like that and be like, that's so cool and melodic. Let's mirror it in vocals. And I believe that is what these nas are. Crazy. And then another thing happened with this Prince part. I believe, I wonder if it's this one as well. Okay, this is the tone. So, this, like, I don't know, I've named it Prince part because I just felt like Prince, it would be something that Prince would play. And obviously I was like, that's really cool. Let's make a non-lyrical da-da-da group out of it. So these are the vocals with the guitar. Woo! I love this.
could be its own song.
Totally, it should.
Yeah.
And I think also this was like kind of around the time that the Harry Styles Harry's House record came out, and there were definitely influences like that I heard in his background vocal arrangements, and I was like, this is a very Harry's House type of thing, and I really liked it, and also loved that it was like not only him, but it was like very much Prince, you know. And I created sort of some like counterpoint within these parts. And then Matt did as well. So yeah, you can hear like there's so much going on by this point of the song that really I was like, okay, I know these parts are so cool, but I just need it to go to mix at this point because I will lose my mind trying to create all the sonic space for it. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the rundown of what this song, vocal production wise at least, kind of is. Do we want
Cool.
to take a few questions for this one before I jump over to the other song?
Yeah, I think so, babes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to yeah, maybe raise your hand and Keely can just ask you. Can you see everyone?
Yeah, let me go back to the
Yeah?
full grid. Okay, I think I can. I don't know how to, yeah.
I know it's a bit it's hard to see everyone, isn't it? How do I can't see everyone either.
I think I do. I just went to the grid show grid video and like made the screen bigger.
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, if you guys raise your hands and then we'll do about sort of 10, 15 minutes of questions and then Keely can show us another project then.
Okay, Tim Warnock, I see you first.
Hello.
Hi.
So when you're sending this to your mixer, like,
Haha.
are you like, yeah, how much of it is split up, and
Yep.
do you split up effects from dries? Like what is that? Because this is like insane to look at.
It's stupid. And I have learned the hard way to like really, a lot of times I'll be in like a flow where I'm like, I'm just going to be reckless. I don't care. I'm just going to like put effects directly on the tracks and who the fuck cares? But then I'm like, I get to the mixing stage and I'm like, oh no, I have to recreate all of this so I can send a wet effects return and I can send a dry. So this is kind of like, this is definitely the system I've gotten it down to, and thank God I did. So I'll just show you like for my lead, for example. And I usually use my same mixer, and he knows kind of my flow and the way I deliver things, and we have a system that works for us. So a lot of times what I'll do is within this audio effects rack, which is really the secret, I have my dry and everything that I'm not going to like, kind of all of my tune, my EQ, my compression, my dimensional things like chorus, microshift, decapitator, I'm usually committing. And if he wants it like less committed, he'll tell me, but these are not, it's not an insane sound. You know, it's dry enough. So what I'll do is when I'm printing things, I will either solo and bounce, or I'll do like an export and I'll turn all of these little speakers off. And so now you'll hear this is just the dry that I'm giving him, basically, with my committed tune, chorus, saturation, compression, EQ.
Every night they were burning it down.
And then what I'll do is usually I don't need to send him each of these completely separate. So like I might make a little group where I'm like, okay, here's the sort of bigger effects returns, right? And so these are all complete 100% wet. So if I solo these and then print, he'll get that, and that is a printed stem that then he can mix the level of. But it's not going to be any kind of like phasey anything because none of the dry signal is in that. And then same thing with this slap. Like I might separate this. And then together with my dry, it sounds. So a lot of times I'll do that. I've started using more return track stuff as well down here. So I will kind of like, if I have like a an effects rack like this that's robust. And I also am maybe sending all the vocals through like a Simple Room or Valhalla Vintage. I will usually just print it with that as well. So what he's getting is like he's not trying to recreate my creative choices. He's really just trying to have enough control to clean up frequencies, help with some compression, and just make room within the full mix. And so a lot of times I'll end up doing like, yeah, I'll kind of like, I would say probably for this group even, like I usually put these into the groups like they're printed as stems. So for this group, for example, I would have sent him, yeah, this is my dry. It's just labeled EQ. I don't know why, but I would send him that. And then I would send him, so that would be like Matt, yeah, group, dry. And then this would be Matt, yeah, group, effects return. So it just creates kind of more autonomy for him to not have things totally committed, but then also as long as I set up my session and I work in this workflow, I can like help myself not have to recreate things when I'm getting ready to send it to mix.
Cool. That's like a ton of work.
It's a lot. But you know
Like, do you
what?
have to
Once you
keep a spreadsheet or something to keep track of?
no, because when I start working, like I used to just, for example, I would like pull a verb just onto that lead vocal track, right? And then I might do automation within the actual like automation lane on that vocal. But instead of doing that, I pull it on there, but then I quickly group it and put it in an effects rack. And then I just create another chain and have that be my dry. And then every time I'm adding a new like dry wet effect, basically, I am pulling that into my effects rack and just doing 100, and then I'm just doing those automation with the volume. So it's like one extra step, but it saves so much time at the end.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Do you want to choose questions from people, Rach, or do you want me to
Yeah, I think Marta's had her hand up for a little
yeah,
bit.
go ahead. Hi, Marta.
Hello, hi. Thank you so much. I'm actually quite mesmerized, but also a little bit overwhelmed by all this amazing content. I think I will have to rewatch the recording like probably for a week to understand everything. But I wanted to ask precisely how did you arrange all the backing vocals, the background vocals, because I got some hints like you mentioned something like stacking different layers probably of the same vocal line, but re-recording more time in order to have this kind of like choir effect. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times, like for my choir group, for example, okay, BGVs, right? This is kind of my main choir vibe. So these are all BGV 1. I'm gonna hide this a little bit smaller. Okay, BGV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all like think of it as different people, like a section in an actual choir. So these are the different parts they're singing. And what I'll do for each of those parts that I'm just like hearing in my head, um, I will sing it twice, and then I'll pan performance 1 left, I'll pan performance 2 right. And then I go on to the next layer of harmony and I do the same thing. So usually that's what I would do just for like background vocals like these 1 through 5, where I don't need it to sound like a huge group of people singing each part, but I do want it to feel like a group of people singing the harmonies all together. Right? So it's not like, sorry, it's not like that sounds like 50 people singing one part, right? It's like there's 2 people singing each part, but it is my same voice, so it's layered and it's going to like add to that weight. But that is definitely different than when I go into these like I call them gang vocal groups. So like these nas or these dadas, these are much more like there's 8 layers of Matt singing like maybe 1 or 2 parts different, right? So this sounds a lot more like a big group of people. Same thing with this. You know, like I wanted that to sound, whereas I want background 1 through 5 to sound like a small ensemble of people, maybe 10 people to be exact, because there's 10 layers of me singing, 10 different performances between those 5 parts. For these like bigger gang vocal groups, I want it to sound like 50 plus, you know? So it's really, that comes down to how many times I'm layering something.
Thank you so much. And also, I was wondering about it really, really, really quick because I don't want to
Yeah.
anytime. Um, do you EQ every single part, or do you EQ in groups, or you just gave it to the mixing part? Because I kept seeing like the Pro Q plugin here and there, but I was wondering if you do EQ every single track
hmm
of every single, or like.
In a group of backgrounds like this, the only thing I do on every track is an instance of auto tune, and then I will group them all and then I'll EQ them all together. So this is the first EQ that's happening on all of those background vocals that are in this BGV's group. And then it looks like I have that same CLA thing. I have some wide happening. So it's like creating a bit of chorusing and width for this whole group. And then I have all of these kinds of effects rack things happening. So yeah, usually I would say like that's kind of my first step, especially with really any vocal, is to put an EQ, but I try to like limit the amount of times I'm doing a bunch of instances of a plugin that I don't need to, that I could just do to the whole group.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great questions.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We'll just take Rolf's question. Rolf?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I have 2 questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So the first one is, when you create the audio effects rack for the vocal like effects you fade in and out, is that something that you generally save and reuse, or something you create for every single project?
It depends, like I actually, in a much less fun and creative way, I will create an audio effects rack that is like a master bus, and I will, like if I just was working on a film, right? So I'm opening a bunch of different sessions that are different cues, like probably 40 different sessions within this film. And I have like an audio effects rack saved as a user preset that I will pull in, and I'll create as like, instead of printing, because when I'm printing, when there's video stuff, I kind of do a slight workaround other than like printing directly from the master bus. I'll usually create like this kind of thing where I create a fake, well, not fake, but I like create a master bus, and then I'm going to print the mix and the cue within this. So a lot of times I would put this into an audio effects rack that has like the master, the limiter, the compression I'm liking, the level I kind of want all of my cues to be across this film. And I'll pull that in from like a preset. And definitely in a more fun approach, like there's, I could create, I think usually when I'm working, I'm a little less organized than that. But if I wanted to be more organized, I certainly could have all of these as like, I could rename this, for example, and I could say Sanctify Audio Effects Rack, or Sanctify Vocal Effects Rack, even more. And I could save that, and then I could pull it into my next thing that I start. And that could be like a starting place of like, okay, cool, I know that I like this neo verb. I know I like this long verb and delay. So yeah, you certainly could. And I think that would be if you like to have sort of like a palette, it's kind of like a template session, right? I think that would be a wise thing for me to do that I just absolutely don't, because I'm a little more hectic than that, I think.
Yeah, nice. If you do one more question, Rolf, and then I think it would be cool, guys, if Keely, if you wouldn't mind just playing the track one more time for
Yeah.
us, just so everyone can like hear all those cool things you've showed us in action one more time, and then if we could open your other session then for 25 minutes or something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. So if you just hit us with your next question, Rolf.
Yeah, I quickly wanted to ask about, I noticed in the background vocals that there's a lot of like it's arranged in a way where you kind of create extra chords and like harmonic information that I didn't hear in the like the full track. I wanted to ask if that's like something you deliberately do for fun, or like if it's any like rhyme or reason to it, basically.
Yeah, I think I think because of my background being quite vocal and choral, like I grew up singing in choirs and I taught myself to sing by listening to the radio and singing harmonies to like Alanis Morissette songs. And so I always am hearing harmony, and it's not in the same way that like a jazz guitarist or pianist might hear harmony, right? It's like I hear it in a way of like, okay, what would be a cool texture or like emotion, and what would be the notes that I could add that aren't necessarily in the chord, but they're like extensions of that harmony, and what would it do to the lyric and to the emotion of the vocal. And I think a lot of times it absolutely is fun. And actually, all of this should be fun. It's like the only reason to do it.
So true.
So yeah. I think that a lot of times I will add things because I hear them. And a lot of times I add things and then I'm like, that's unnecessary. You know, I like to do a lot of just throwing things at the wall and then removing in the final, you know, I think it's good to like not limit yourself, but then also to be aware of when enough is enough and you don't need to do the most all the time. Obviously, I did the most on this song.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's so great about this track. Like you can really tell how much fun you had making it. It's just like, it's just so fun. Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Keely babe. So
Yeah.
should we listen to it one more time, guys? And then we can give Dresage a chance to open another set where she's vocal produced for another artist, so we can like see a little bit of her different approach to that versus producing for her artist project. So
Okay.
yeah, give us another whirl, babes.
All right. Here's Sanctify again.
Irons on the altar, new chains, same cage, always a mother or a daughter. Good grace gives way to red rage. They crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry for love, show of force, kill the thing they adore. Every night they were burning down, gold in the ashes they cover the ground. Never dared to raise a high, sainted in the afterlife. Sanctify me, strike and light me, flames behind me, burn me down. Sanctify me, strike and light me, braid the ivy around my crown. Holier than holy, painting my grief in gold leaf. Hold power like an offering. When I reach for it, put it to my lips. You take it from me. Crave the rose, curse the thorns, cry for love, show of force, kill the thing they adore. Every night they were burning
track is so good.
Thank you.
Shit,
Yeah, I
man.
love it.
When you
I
listen
love
to it,
it.
when you listen to it, how cool was it listening to it then, guys? After seeing Keely's like breakdown, and you're like, shit, man. Yeah, you are a beast. I love it. Right. So, okay, guys. So if we let Keely just open a next session and we'll start a new listen to link.
Yep.
And yeah, that was honestly so cool, babes. I just loved seeing that. And
Thank you.
it's funny because when I've listened to obviously your productions and stuff that we've worked on the same projects, and like now I'm like, ah, that's what you're doing. Oh, I see. So, but yeah,
It's a lot. I see, yeah, Sanctify is out. It's on all streaming platforms. It's part of an EP called The Hell We Made that you
mhm,
can find under just Dressage.
yeah. And what's just tell us a little bit, babe, about the whole that EP. So is it like a whole concept, or 'cause you were saying about
Yeah.
women? Yeah, can you quickly
It
tell us about that?
yeah,
Like,
it was kind of like that EP was I went through like a pretty big life change and breakup in 2022. Left a 10-year relationship and then I came out and I am in a very happy relationship now, but like it was just such a long time coming type of breakup. And I think that I wrote these songs, like actually one of the songs, Plastique, which is not what I'll play today, but it's on that EP. I wrote before I kind of understood this about myself, the first half of it, and then I finished it once I like was on the other side of this whole life change and it just like yeah, it's kind of like the first little stepping stone into the bigger project that I'm working on that has taken me a little while because like life happened and I was like, you know what? I need to like take a beat and be a human. And now actually through working as a more of a like background supportive role with artists and doing more like film scores and things and really allowing myself to enjoy producing other people um in addition to my own work but actually giving that a moment to breathe. I'm really coming back to being excited about my own project, which is so necessary, like I have this whole record that I thought I was going to release beginning of 2024 basically, and then I was like, you know what, if I do this I'm going to like quit music because I am exhausted. And yeah, so it's kind of like a precursor to this next project I'm working on that like I'm also really not pressuring myself to get out immediately because I think that's what can take away a lot of the fun is like
yeah, that's so
first of all
refreshing.
releasing things before I'm even ready to emotionally or like, because I think the creating and the finishing are so different than like the promotion and the visuals and the content and I want to be able to give it the chance it deserves, but I can't do that if I'm like exhausted from just not being able to start from like a full well place. So
Yeah, that's so refreshing to hear, isn't it? Because it's like we won't get into that now, but yeah, the social
it's
media
hard.
pressures.
Well, yeah, because I think that it just feels like time is fleeting. And if you don't capture attention and keep it, then like you're gonna lose it forever. And I just like, I can't live my life like that because I'm not like, I have to actually as an artist, you have to go out and live life and then report back through your art. You can't just like be in this constant churn out game because I don't actually think you're going to be making anything that's real.
Hmm. Yeah, so good, babes. Thanks for sharing that insight as well.
Yeah,
It's really nice to hear, isn't it, in today's times. Um,
it's hard.
okay, so let's dive into your next sesh. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it and then give it a
Yeah,
spin?
yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna also pull in the master.
And there's a new link now, guys. So if you just grab this new listen to link for listening to this song, I've copied and pasted it as well. So, and we'll just like keep loading the master so you can hear the finished version.
I thought I did for some reason, but maybe I didn't. No. Okay. Um,
I have to do this quite a bit as well. Just bring in those masters and
this should be right. Okay. Do. Cool. So this is an artist named Desi. She's awesome. And I started writing with her at the end of 2023, I think like December. I had worked with another artist that her manager at the time manages and was like, hey, you should work with Desi. And I had known of her because I'd seen her, like she's pretty active on TikTok and has like, she's had a few things kind of blow up there. And I just really like what she's doing. I think she's a really cool voice for like young queer women. And I think that her whole vibe is just interesting to me. And this was the first song we wrote. We were both feeling like pretty heartbroken about the world. Just like bad news and scary things. And obviously that hasn't stopped, but it was one of those sessions where we both came in being like, how you doing? I'm not so good. Yeah, me either. Let's write about it. And she had told me she wanted to start, so she's Cuban American, and she told me she wanted to start singing in Spanish more. And I was like, well, let's do it. Like let's start the song in Spanish and see what happens. And we found this old poem from like the 1700s by some I can't remember the poet, but it was in Spanish, and it's about how to paraphrase it, it's basically like, I have lived, I have died, but love is the only remedy. Like love is the only answer, basically. And it's the only medicine. And so we wrote this song. I think I'll just play it. And I guess let me just test it and make sure you guys can hear it on this link. Okay, I'll just let it go.
Soy un gran descubridor, porque anoche he descubierto. Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto. La medicina de amor, la medicina de amor. Praying to a future no one sees. Black ash in my coffee, it's a probability. And I'm not saying it's a remedy, but all we have is empathy. When my rage goes quiet, who are we? Trigger my kill switch, I go dark entirely. And I don't claim to have the answers, but I'd love to let myself be me. Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto. La medicina de amor, la medicina de amor. Sun still rises in the rain. How do we reckon with the beauty and the pain? It's a self-inflicted torture. I put the world between my shoulder blades. And I will sing a lullaby if we're sinking. So hold on to me. It's love, you only
Yeah, so if you didn't want to
Whoa.
feel things today, sorry.
Flip, babe, that is so good. The production is just immense.
Thank you.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, so good.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's on an EP that she put out this January. We actually put it out kind of like we wrote these songs, and they're all very political and like about this time that we're all living through and how to kind of grapple with that. And we, for the American election in November, we were like, maybe I mean, of course, nothing is ever going to be irrelevant because it doesn't matter who's in office. There's still going to be things happening in the world that are scary. But I think that we were like, maybe it's gonna be okay. Maybe Kamala might win, and it might be like not the end times that we all are experiencing now. And of course, she didn't. And we basically, these songs were not finished, but starting in November, we were like, okay, we have to finish this project. Like it has to come out, and it has to come out before that fucker is in office. And so we put out, I think the other song that we did called Rage came out on the inauguration day. And then the rest of the EP came out in February, basically as like,
Whoa.
yeah, a vibe of like first, I don't know. Anyways, I can't even talk about it. It's just too upsetting. But this EP is called La Medicina. This is the title track, and this is the first track of it. And I'm really proud of it. And she's an artist I just like love as a friend and just respect so much. So, and this is so cool that this was the first song we ever wrote together. You know, like this was day one meeting each other. We wrote this. So, a lot of times when production gets like so intense, I will separate out my vocals and keep them in a separate session. So this is just the vocal production and then the instrumental print. So, but I have the instrumental so we can kind of listen through all the different things. But yeah, all the all the strings are live, which I thought really added to it. In the end, we were like, okay, this is like the moment that the Titanic is sinking, but we're still singing for everybody to have a little bit of comfort, you know? So that was kind of an inspiration as to like the strings were originally only at the end because it was like the Titanic is going down. And then we were like, it should be everywhere because they add such a nice, like organic thing. Yeah, should I just jump in?
Yeah, go for it, babes. So cool.
Cool. Okay, so let's see. I'm kind of rediscovering a lot of this too. Let's check out what the Spanish leads are doing. Actually, I'm just going to mute the instrumental and we're just going to kind of listen.
Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto, soy un gran descubridor, porque anoche he descubierto. Yo que vivo, que vivo.
Okay, cool. So we start out with just a lead, and you can see I'm kind of doing, I've grouped these. They all kind of have their own, okay, yeah. So I'm kind of treating each of these leads as like their own thing. They have their effects racks with the dry and the wet, like we talked about. It's a little more simple, honestly. And I think I'm using more of these bigger stroke moves. Let's see. Not as much, but okay. So I have my leads, and then I have some harmonies happening. Here's BGV group 1, which is probably the similar thing. Like, yeah, some RX probably because there's some mouth noises, but just really tune and doing stacks of each part. So this is like a little choir of background vocals I created, or I had her sing to her lead. And then it gets more dense here.
Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto, la medicina de amor, la medicina de amor.
So the beginning, this first like intro, the chorus thing is like really just dreamy, swimmy. I wanted to create that feeling of like a dream state. And a fun thing that I liked about these background vocal group vocals was that I side chained them. So I'm side chaining the vocal and the I think that it's the whole thing. Yeah. And I guess it's to, what am I side chaining it from? Oh, it's Shaper Box. Okay. Actually, what I'm doing is side chaining just the verb. So I don't know if everybody's familiar with Shaper Box. I'm obsessed with it. It's got like all these different parameters of how you can affect, like it's got panning, it's got saturation, filtering, and this is the side chain setting that I like because, you know, you could side chain using like a kick pattern, but this a lot of times is a little quicker. So on my wet effects return of just the reverb, I have the verb, I have an EQ, I have a compressor, and then I have this Shaper Box plugin that's basically creating an eighth note sidechain of just that reverb, so you can hear it. This thing, sorry. And here's just that verb. Which is just kind of a cool way to create movement. It's like, it's creating, yeah, just like, I don't know, it added movement to me for the dreamy vibe. So that's another moment right there. I had her add a harmony that, you know, wasn't necessarily in the chord, but it created tension. And then also using the vocal kind of like, I don't know, like a filter opening up, right? She kind of went, ooh. And you can use mouth shapes and like timbre really to create different sounds, right? If I want to sing really dark, I'm gonna be a little more closed with the mask of my face. Ooh. But if I want to open it, ooh, right? You let in more of the breath. There's like so much you can do just with the human voice that is so musical. Just with the placement and like breath and even the way like your eyes are when you're singing. If you open up your eyes, you're going to get a little bit brighter of a tone, you know? So I like to do that. Just keep all those things in mind as I'm creating an arrangement, really. Okay.
Praying to a future no one sees.
Okay, so here is a classic me vibe where I'm like, swimmy, swimmy, swimmy. And then like, oh, do you want to get kicked in the heart with some really upsetting lyrics that are going to really cut to you? Dry in your face, baby. Okay, here we go.
Praying to a future no one sees.
Very dry.
Black ash in my coffee, it's a probability. And I'm not saying it's a remedy, but all we have is empathy.
Okay, so what I'm doing there on a couple little lyric choices, I'm doing little throws of my delay, which is just this echo boy. It's probably the edgy vocal slap. I tend to like this setting for like moments like that because it's edgy and a vocal slap. So this sounds like
Black ash in my coffee, it's a probability. And I'm
out.
not saying it's a remedy, but all we have is empathy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're just in one lead land there. Let's keep going.
When the rage goes quiet, who are we? Trigger my kill switch, I go dark entirely. And I don't claim to have the answers, but I'd love to let myself believe.
Right, so I'm arrangement and like recording wise, I'm letting it be her single vocal at times, and then I'm adding in a double and triple of like a couple different layers of harmonies to kind of like accent the message really.
Trigger my kill switch, I go dark entirely.
I love this harmony so much. Is it this one?
Trigger my kill switch, I go dark entirely.
Ooh, I love it. The mic that I think all of these vocals that you've heard today is on my Manly reference cardioid. I saw that go into the chat. Okay, so
But I'd love to let myself be.
okay, cool. So now we go into this like next chorus, and I'll put in the instrumental so you can kind of hear the context. But now we're definitely in like choir land, right? There's a lot of parts coming on. Let's listen.
Yo que vivo, aunque me muerto. La medicina de amor, la medicina de amor.
I have these little mics that I'm obsessed with that you probably, if you've like seen, hold on one second. You may have seen people use these before. They're little like circuit bent old telephones that have a 1/4 inch. The camera's doing something weird, but you talk into them and they're a microphone basically, and they sound like an old phone. So I had her talk through one of these as a layer for that.
Aunque me he muerto, la medicina de amor, la medicina de amor.
Yeah. So, ever since I got them, I found there's a guy on Etsy that sells them. I think there's a few different places, but I've bought 2 from him on Etsy. They're kind of noisy, but like I don't really mind. They have a little filter switch here so you can kind of roll off the highs. And it's just like fun to sing into, and it's an inspiring, texture to have when you're recording. And I've done it ever since I've had them. I've had like most singers do like a talk or something through them. You sing through them, they sound great too. Specifically very like lo-fi and that kind of vibe. Okay, keep going. Here's verse 2.
The sun still rises in the rain. How do we reckon with the beauty and the pain? It's a self-inflicted torture. I put the world between my shoulder blades.
So here's the outro.
And I will sing
Oh,
a
okay, so
lullaby.
I sang on this outro because she was out of town or something, and I was like, I have these ideas, we can replace them with you, like I don't need to be on this track. But she was like, no, I love your parts. So I think these are all me.
A lullaby.
Okay, so just as you hear this, let's see if these are her. Yeah. Okay. So I think what I did from this like first bounce that I made of this song is I probably recorded these parts, and I was like, we can build it out more. Doesn't have to be my voice. But something that I've kind of found, especially with this record I just did for this artist Laces, like I sang on every song, and I really was like a part of the vocal sound, which is really fun too when artists are like open to that and want that. So here is the outro, the way that these all sound.
A lullaby.
Sorry, I'll start here.
And I will sing a lullaby. If we're sinking, so hold on to me. It's love, the only remedy.
So I almost was treating those harmonies like an orchestra, like that. Those sound to me like, as well as like the actual strings that are on this song, like all those parts could be string lines. I just want to play a bit of this without her lead so you can hear this arrangement because it's so beautiful.
On to me, it's love, remedy.
Oh my God, I think I had her sing this insanely high last note. She killed it. So yeah, like this song definitely feels, I don't know, it feels like Fantasia or something at the end to me. Do we want to, I mean, those are all the vocal parts. Do we want to hear the song again? Do we want to have questions? What are you thinking, Rach?
I'm just blown away, babe, to be honest. This is why vocal production, I feel like it does get overlooked, doesn't it? Especially in some of like the electronic world. Like, look at the depth we've got here in just the vocals. I always say that a production is like 50% vocals, 50% instrumental, isn't it? It's half and half. But
Yeah.
this I think you could even push. Maybe it's more like 70-30, I don't know. But
Yeah.
oh no, it's just insane. I also love how you guys are obviously a really good combo here because it's showing the best of you, isn't it, babes, by like getting into your vocal arrangements and everything else. Yeah, should we hear it again, guys? And then let's take a little couple of questions, or do you want to do some questions and then let's listen again and then we'll have some
Yep.
questions. Yeah. All right. Let's.
And also I
Yeah.
have the instrumental. I know that I don't have the instrumental to go through here in this session, but if you guys are interested, I could like play sections of the instrumental too, because I know there's a lot going on. Okay, here is
Okay.
the master released
Okay.
version.
Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto, soy un gran descubridor, porque anoche he descubierto. Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto, la medicina de amor, la medicina de amor. Praying to a future no one sees. Black ash in my coffee, it's a probability. And I'm not saying it's a remedy, but all we have is empathy. When the rage goes quiet, who are we? Trigger my kill switch, I go dark entirely. And I don't claim to have the answers, but I'd love to let myself be. Yo que vivo, aunque me he muerto, la medicina de amor, la medicina de amor. Sun still rises in the rain. How do we reckon with the beauty and the pain? It's a self-inflicted torture. I put the world between my shoulder blades. And I will sing a lullaby if we're sinking. So hold on to me. It's love, the only remedy.
Ah,
Woohoo! So gorgeous that is. Okay, cool guys. So we'll kick off a couple of questions then. Savannah, do you wanna take it away?
Oh my gosh, like so much to say. Okay, real quick note is like I love watching Rachel's face as we're listening through. She's just like blink, 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 blink.
we do that to each other.
I
It's a
bet.
mutual experience when I listen to her shit. I'm like, what now?
Well, thank you so much, Keely. It's really incredible having some eyes on your process. I have two questions that are not exactly like Ableton production questions, but I think they very much relate. I'm curious to know if you have any specific tips on setting up your space for recording vocals.
Hmm.
Because just, I mean, we're in a vocal session, so I find that like, yeah, that's something that I constantly am kind of battling with and like finding different configurations and trying to really dial that in. I thought
Yeah.
you might have
Are
some
you is it like when you're the singer or when you have a singer and okay, got it.
thoughts when I'm
So
singing.
for a long time, I literally used to sing for my rent. Like I sang for like an online recording studio similar to like Sound Better. Every
Mhm.
day I was literally engineering myself and singing. And so I do a lot more production and other things now, thank God, because that felt like a conveyor belt of singing and being a weird
Here's my heart.
product. I was just like, oh my God. But when I was doing that, I have this like, you've probably seen them in podcast studios. They're like the Mika Yellow Tech mic arm. A lot of times they're like silver
Mhm.
and they come down. There's a bunch of different mic arms on the market. But what I have is I have my desk, and I have this mic arm coming out from behind my computer monitor and it comes up and over. And I will pull my mic and I'll sing that way. And I have acoustic treatment all over my room. So kind of every spot in my room is pretty dead. Like it's not going to be too echoey.
Mhm.
And so for a long time when I was being the only singer in my studio and not doing a lot of like recording other people, my mic was always on the mic arm and I was like pushing it away when I was doing editing and producing, and then I was pulling it and then recording and engineering myself.
Yeah.
I found that to be like the most not breaking my body ergonomically because I used to
Yeah.
have like a little kick mic stand that I would put a mic on and I would sing like this, but I would be always doing this. So
Mm-hmm.
that was helpful to keep like my body aligned in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And now with singers in my studio, I have these two sound panels that are gobos basically. And I've just created this little corner right next to me. And my
Uh-huh.
mic is on a stand there. And so people
Mm.
can kind of be there singing. I have a sit stand desk. So a lot of times I'll kind of like stand up with them and get in the vibe, like just kind of be like a team doing it together.
Yeah.
And so they're like 3 feet from me, but it's very
Mm.
like feels like we're approaching the vocals as like a team effort because a lot of times I'm giving them parts to sing
Yeah.
or, things like that. So, um, I also in more like remote on the go settings, I just hold an SM7 and that's also totally fine.
Yeah. 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 I was curious about that. Like, so just on the mic that you're using on the Michaela Tech arm, did you
Yeah.
ever have like a halo attached to it or just straight
I
up?
just have a pop filter on it.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
like the mic is hanging upside down. Sorry, I'm kind of hardwired here, otherwise I'd move my camera around, but the mic will be hanging upside down and then there's a pop filter that is kind of in
Yeah.
front of it. And
Cool.
yeah, I don't mess with like
Keep
the
it simple.
isolation things, no, because
Yeah.
my room, I mean, it's pretty dead, like there's ceiling panels, there's bass traps, it's kind of everywhere. So
Cool.
I'm lucky in that I can control the sound
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
needing like
Beautiful.
a big shield or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask a second question? Do we
Yeah.
have time for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm listening to this and I'm like, ah, so fire. And then the voice comes in my head, and it's in my head all the time when I'm composing of like, and live show, how do you, it's like, how do you temper your desire to like create something really majestic and epic that literally could be performed with a choir? And then also if you want to be like really mobile as a solo artist, or I'm
Yeah,
curious if that's a consideration, how you work with that.
totally. So for Sanctify, for example, I played that at my EP release show in October of 2023 when I released it. And I had tracks, but like a lot of times if I'm using tracks, like my band for that was drums with an SPD, and she was running tracks off the SPD. I actually wasn't using a computer because I just was like in a stage of my life where I was like, I don't want to be on stage with a computer. Um, and I had like a vocal effects pedal I was like doing things live through, and we had live bass, live guitar, and then me on like a combo of synth and guitar
Oh,
and
okay.
voice. And so with that setting, I created like mix downs basically of the track playback that I wanted, but I really did thin it out a lot. Like I didn't keep in, I think it's totally reasonable and fair to be like, okay, what feels like an amount of playback tracks that I am comfortable with being on stage with. You don't have to have every single layer.
Yeah.
And even with like artists, like this artist I'm going on tour with, like it's the same thing. It's like, okay, like these parts are cool and they're on the record, but the live show can be different, and that's actually fine because it's all about the song.
Yeah.
Um, so for this, like I probably would do this without any tracks even, and I would just do this like guitar, bass, and drums and vocal, and it would probably be rad. And
Yeah.
if I wanted to have harmonies in like layered, that's also totally cool because I think I can make them minimal enough where they're just supportive, but they're not like feeling like karaoke.
Yeah, totally. Like a stripped down intimate version kind
Yeah.
of. Nice,
Because
beautiful.
because it really could be like a rock song. So
Cool.
yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much. I
It
appreciate
can
it.
sound a bit like it can sort of take away from the magic as well, isn't it? If you have like a really heavy like playback track,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh, what is live then? It gets a little confusing. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, but obviously if you're singing it live, that probably has enough substance in it in itself that you don't need to have this huge
Yeah.
harmony stack. But yeah, cool. Okay, thank you, Savannah. Thanks, Keely. And then we've got Anna's got a question there. Do you want to ask away, Anna?
Hey, yeah, thanks as well. This has been amazing. So cool to see your process and just the layers, how you've blended it all together just is beautiful. So
Thank you.
cool. This is less of like a production question, more of a tech question. You kind of touched on it already, but I just wondered in terms of your mic setups, do you have like a go-to mic for something like this? I just wondered how much that sort of makes an impact or whether it really is that post-production that you're sort of putting the sound out.
Yeah. I definitely think that like I have made a lot of records where I'm singing the lead on an SM7 through an Apollo in like pre and there's nothing fancy happening. Like it's all about the delivery and you know, as long as you have like a healthy clean signal, I think it's totally you can do this. I think for most of this song and Sanctify, I recorded everything through my Manly. So, you know, that's like a $3,000 mic and I have a nice Neve pre and I have a nice Shadow Hills compressor and like that is my vocal chain and so I am doing myself a lot of like, you know, I'm helping myself going into Ableton where it already sounds really nice and like upfront and compressed and, you know, clean, but it's also totally not necessary. Like I think what's more necessary is like a true performance. And there have been a lot of times on songs, even on this EP that I released, that the lead has just been from the writing session on like me holding an SM7 because that was the most true delivery of the story I was trying to tell.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Nice. If it's any consolation, Anna, I don't have the £3,000 mic.
Yeah.
So it's so true. Like, yeah, if you've got, I think the treatment of your room is important. It's really important. If you've got like no treatment in your room, don't use a condenser mic because all you're going to record is the sound of your room. But so, you know, if you have got like nothing set up, sound panels, like the SM7B, that's why it's so good, dynamic microphone, and then you get your good performance and then you can process then freely and do lovely stuff, you know. So and Sally's saying here I scolded her with a €900 mic after I couldn't cope with the untreated room for her recordings. So but yeah, thanks for sharing that, Keely, as well. We'll do one more question from the lovely Brian. So Bri, do you want to hit us with the question for Dressage?
Yeah, I just had a quick question about so the first track you talked about comping from a whole bunch of different takes for that lead vocal. Like, what's your sort of process for comping with that many takes? Like, I know for me, like once I've listened to my fourth take, I don't remember what the first take was better or
Yeah.
not at that point. So can you just talk a little bit about what your
Sure.
process? Right.
I go line by line. So I am literally like building. And then if I come back and I'm like, oh, I think there's actually probably a better part, then I will come back and like replace it. But I usually will sing, I sing each section. Maybe I'll sing like the whole song a couple times when I'm starting. But really, I'm focusing on the verse. And usually I'll do verses first and then I'll do choruses second because they're a lot of times in different ranges of my voice. So I want to make sure I'm staying within the same sort of range and like palette of my instrument. And so I'll do like, I don't know, depending on how critical I am that day, maybe like 6 to 10 takes of each section, and then kind of go through the song, record everything. And then usually by the end of the song, I'm like, okay, let me do a few full takes because I think I actually have a new like perspective on this song now that I've done everything. I've like done the workout basically. And then I usually don't do that in the same day also if I can help it, because if I'm for like my own songs, like vocal recording is like a fucking endeavor. Yeah, right. So like it I try to go and then comp it and on a different day when I'm feeling less emotionally attached or critical or whatever. And usually, yeah, I'll just unfold my take lanes and I will go line by line and then move to the next line once I'm kind of happy with the first one. But I totally agree. I don't listen to a whole verse and then try and remember what the next, like the take above was like. I go like irons on the altar, new chain, same cage, always. And then I had to go like, or even like irons on the altar, new chains. And I'm like, take, and then I choose it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Breaking
that
it
makes
down.
sense. Oh my God, you could never do a full verse because you'd be like, ah,
No, it's too
make your
much.
head explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
that,
curious, like on her leads here, I wonder how many takes we did. Here's the, yeah. And a lot of times I'll try and comp something and I'll be like, oh no, like I actually think I need to hit that again. So, but I have people do quite a few takes for sure.
yeah, nice. That's funny that you come back to comp. Like when I record, I'll do my 8 to 10 and I am so impatient. I like want to comp and I will sometimes have a chain on it before I even comp, which is really cheating. Because
No, it's
but
not. You want the sound. You want it to be
yeah,
like accurate to, yeah, no, I don't think so.
just like, how does it sound? Do you keep a chain on it, babes, when you're comping? Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
yeah,
I'm not trying to listen to myself un-EQ'd, uncompressed, untuned.
yeah, yeah.
Like some things I don't tune because it's more of a style, but like for the most part, I'm trying to hear things how they would sound on the record.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Oh my God. Babes, I could nerd out with you for like another 10 hours, and hopefully we will get to, because me and Keely are going to meet up in a few weeks in real life. So when she comes to the UK, which is cool. So I'll just take one more question, just a quick one from Crystal. So Crystal, do you want to give us, ask your question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I came in late, so you might have answered this question already, but I had a question about a lot of times, like when I'm doing melodic ideas, I hear them, I'm like, oh, that might be a good an instrumental, or maybe I should layer all these counter melodies and things. And I was wondering if there's like a rule of thumb that you have in regards to like how many melodies, vocal melodies or parts for one section is too many, like to the point where it becomes kind of like hard to listen to for the listener, like maybe too complicated.
Yeah.
So many vocal intertwined ideas, and I'm always like, maybe I should make that like a synth instead. Does this happen to you, and is there something helpful?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You should have heard the music I made when I was like fresh out of music school. I was like, I am God's gift to music, and I'm gonna come in with every single idea I've ever had and put it on this stupid recording that sounds like garbage. Because when you're young, you're so cocky and you're like, all of my ideas are brilliant, so why wouldn't I put them out there? Um, Now I have more humility, and that's a good thing. But I think it's smart to not limit yourself in the moment of if you have an idea and it's like inspiring to you, just do it, because you can always. I heard this quote once that really stuck with me. That was like the editor, like you wear these different hats when you're creative, right? So like you are the artist and you're creating, and your whole job is just to try and like channel whatever is coming to you and get it on paper, get it in Ableton, get it somewhere. And then you can step back from that role and go into your editor role where you're curating, and you're like, okay, cool. Like these are all great ideas, but maybe not all of them are necessary. Maybe a third of them should be muted, and I'm still having the same impact. And actually, there's more focus on the parts that I really do want to be the center point. But I think that like the artist and the curator should be different times in the lifespan of something that you're making. And it's totally, I think, helpful to not be too critical up front, because you never know, like if you shut yourself down, you might be losing out on something that's actually really integral to the thing you're making. Um, and also at the same time, I think that I have gotten good at knowing when my ideas are worth chasing or worth like letting go. You know that saying of kill your darlings, right? So like you can always kill your darlings in the moment, and that's fine. Like you don't have to die on that hill is also a saying in the room a lot of times when I'm writing with people. Um, so I think it can be a really just flexible, moving thing. But I'm always a fan of not being too critical too soon.
What you said earlier was really cool. You just said like give all you've got, give all those ideas, put them down, and then come and reassess them later and
Yeah.
kind of go, okay, I actually really like that one, or but you do have to you do have to be a bit, sometimes a bit savage and be like, there's just too many ideas here and you've got to try and make those decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm similar to you, babes, as well. I would have like the earlier sessions I've found have so many ideas, and usually I'd send them to people feedback, be like, there's too many ideas in your song, but it's still good to get them out.
Yeah.
And then Crystal look at them and go, okay, hang on, which ones do I really love, you know?
Yeah,
And
it's
build up
kind
from
of
there.
like, and I'm remembering now, I'm seeing Marta writing this out. It was creator and curator. So those are two different things, right? And so like there's this idea of um if you're a curator of a museum, you're not taking every painting ever made. You're taking the ones that really apply to the idea and like the concept of the show you're building. And I think that but the art had to be made first, right? Like the choosing and picking of the options to curate has to be there first. So yeah, I can't remember who said that, but I saw it a few years ago and I was like, oh, that's helpful. Very
Yeah,
helpful.
that's such a good analogy. Oh my gosh, thanks, Keely.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Oh my goodness, what an incredible couple of hours with Keely. Can we all have a round of applause, please? Turn your mics off on for dressage. Woohoo!
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Yeah.
friends. Gosh.
So thank you so much to everyone who came tonight, and
Amazing.
thanks for those guys as well who signed up from the free tier. So Dressage music on Instagram. So pop Rob, thank you, Rob, has been putting all the links in
Oh,
tonight.
thank you.
So if we can just pop Dressage's Insta in there, and she's on Spotify, website. So definitely go ahead and follow. And I think you even have a Patreon, don't you, babes?
It's not active, so I wouldn't mess with it. I'm not.
So but
Don't subscribe unless you just want nothing in return.
but definitely go and follow Keely now, guys, and like stay in touch with the amazing records that she's creating, and yeah, all the journey that she's on, because it's so fun and so great, and it's so refreshing as well. I feel like you can really tell with you, babes, that music is first. Like music is first for you, and I'm really inspired by that. Like, yeah, I feel like I get pulled in a few directions.
I
But,
mean, me too. Me too. I'm really, and that's been like the thesis statement for myself for the last few years has been like, just do one of the things at a time. Like make the music and then worry about doing the
and then
releasing,
do
all the
that.
stuff, you know, but it's like I just can't be this combination human all the time.
Yeah,
So
it's hard. Oh my goodness. But this sessions like this tonight is like the reason why we make music. And I think it's easy to forget that as well, you know? This
yeah.
like watching Keely's productions here, just showing like, oh my God, like the energy and just the love and the like passion that she's put into creating these. This is what it's all about. Like this is what we make music for, even though sometimes we forget that. And
Yeah,
think,
and I
fuck
also
this.
do too. I mean, yeah, I'm singing on a dog food commercial and I'm like, is this the dream? I don't know. Like, but grateful for work, you know.
Oh God.
Um,
Yeah. Oh
Thank you all
gosh.
so much. Yeah, thanks for your great questions. And it's been like a while since I've done one of these. So thank you for being here and showing interest.
Oh, thank you so much, babes, for doing this with us tonight. And thank you, everyone. So just in terms of the community stuff, we've got another workshop in a few weeks, actually, with Sakura from Japan, and she's going to be doing a live performance workshop for us, which I'm really excited for. And then I'll be announcing this on the weekend. We have officially booked and secured our venue for our in real life meetup in Bristol, UK 2025.
Ooh.
So the tickets are now in the shop for that, guys, but I'll do a big announcement for that on Saturday. So lots of fun community things going on if you feel like you need to fill the inspiration cups. And yeah, it's been really nice to hang with you all tonight. And thanks so much, Keely. Mwah.
Thanks,
Cool, guys.
everybody.
We'll see you
Thank
soon,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Stop.